End cities are an incredibly important part of any late game Minecraft world. Here is the ultimate guide to end cities for the latest version of Minecraft. First, let's go over what end cities actually are and how to find them. End cities are large but connected structures made primarily out of endstone and purple blocks, and that are only found rarely on the outer islands of the end. There are two ways to access the outer end islands. One, the easiest way, is to defeat the Ender Dragon. While this will open up a portal back to the main world, it will also open a gateway on the outskirts of the island. Going up to the gateway and ender pearling through it will bring you directly to the outer end island. However, there is a way to get there without killing the dragon. Once you spawn in the end, if you bridge for thousands of blocks or build a flying machine, it'll take about 10 minutes, but you can actually reach the outer end islands by yourself, basically on foot. But of course, the gateway is two-way and much faster than that, and plus, because you haven't actually killed the dragon in this method, you won't be able to leave the end unless you die. So unless you're not playing on hardcore and brought some ender chests with you, you won't be able to take any of the end city loot back to the main world with you. But if you meet those two requirements, then this is a perfectly valid method to reach the end city. Anyways, once you've reached the outer end islands, from here finding an end city requires a lot of time and patience. You'll definitely need to bridge across multiple islands, so make sure to bring a really good amount of blocks. You also want to kill some endermen, that way you can get ender pearls to teleport without having to build full bridges. The ender pearls will also help a lot when we raid the end city later, so make sure to save a good amount for that. By this point in the game, you probably have enchanted armor as well, so you should be able to outmuscle an enderman pretty easily by yourself. Now for bridge building across islands, I know it's really nerve-wracking to look down and see the endless void below, especially if you're on Java, where your pinky constantly has to hold down the shift key to sneak, and if you accidentally let go, it's all over. Well, that is if you're not using this one super amazing tip. In Java, if you go to accessibility settings, you can change sneak from hold to toggle, so that now you don't need to hold the shift key to sneak, but rather all you need to do is press the shift key once and you'll be sneaking indefinitely. If you want to unsneak, just press the shift key again. This way, when you're bridging, you don't need to desperately hold shift with all your life just to not die. You can instead press the key once and have peace of mind that you will never accidentally let go and fall down there. While you're bridging, it's important to look up at the islands around you. Increasing your render distance also really helps. I found multiple end cities hiding in the fog just because my render distance was too low, and trust me, even if it's slightly laggy for your device, that will save you so much time and effort. So now you've done some bridging and exploring across multiple islands, and finally you have found yourself an end city. Now we can get to the cool part of the video. Many Minecraft players visit an end city for basically one purpose, to find the elytra. The elytra is a pair of wings that allows you to glide around your world, and paired with fireworks can actually help you fly, like just straight up fly. And this bad boy is only found in the end ship on the edge of the end city. But here's the catch, not every end city has a ship. In fact, basically every end city generates differently. Some are massive and have a ship on the edge too, some are massive and don't have a ship, and some are just tiny and completely suck. But the ones without a ship are still worth exploring, since every city will usually have some loot, and the loot you find in end cities is just absolutely insane. All sorts of valuable gems like diamonds, emeralds, and gold, as well as a lot of enchanted iron and diamond armor. You'll potentially even find some ender chests as well. But you of course don't get all these valuables for free. End cities are crawling with hostile shulker mobs. These guys blend in with their purple environment and just look like a little box, but when they detect you, they will open up their shell and begin firing what I can only describe as homing missiles directly at you. Yes, these missiles track you everywhere you go with reasonable accuracy, and if you're hit by one, you will take some damage and get the levitation effect for a solid amount of time. This doesn't seem that bad, but eventually, especially higher in the end city, you will levitate high enough to take some significant fall damage, which is really dangerous. But don't worry, because there are a few ways to deal with these levitation missiles and the shulkers themselves. First of all, you can swipe at the missiles with your fist, and that will disintegrate them. You can also use your shield to block them too. But if you do get hit, that's where chorus fruit will come in really handy. You can get chorus fruit from all these purple plants that surround the end city and that are on the outer end islands. These things break instantly, and there's a crap ton of them. The plants are actually farmable as well. Just use use a bow to pick off one of the plant's flowers before you break it, and you can replant that flower to grow even more fruit. Case in point, getting a large amount of chorus fruit is extremely easy. But I got sidetracked. How do these fruits actually help you with the shulkers? Well, say you got hit by a shulker's missile. If you eat one of these just 1 or 2 seconds before your levitation wears off, it will teleport you to the nearest solid block where you'll be completely safe. While the place it teleports you is completely random, don't worry. First of all, this fruit cannot teleport you across islands or super far away. Distance-wise, wherever you eat it in the end city, you'll still be extremely close by. Second, no, it cannot teleport you right on top of the void or something. That is just a complete myth. It will always teleport you to a solid block. Even if you're right next to the void, it will still not teleport you into there, so don't worry about that either. But anyways, eating the chorus fruit is a great way to combat the shulker's levitation if you do get hit with it. Another option is to simply kill the shulker as well. Make sure to do this when it has its shell open, because with its shell closed, damaging it is significantly harder. Plus, when you do kill shulkers, there's a chance for its shell to drop. 2 of these shells plus a chest can create a shulker box, which is basically an on-the-go backpack that you can store items in. These are great for carrying all the loot that you get from the end city while still keeping your inventory relatively clear. So now that you know how to deal with shulkers, let's go into a bit more detail about the layout of the end city itself. End cities are composed of multiple different rooms, towers, and bridges. First of all, we have the base floors. This is present in literally every end city. It's just the first 3 floors, and they're usually empty except for the occasional shulker. In the bigger end cities though, this will usually lead into a mini staircase of sorts that will lead into a skyscraper tower. This doesn't always spawn, but it's still one of the most dangerous rooms in the end city. It's also important though, because there are ways you can use it to your advantage to access the higher parts of the end city. Now the reason this room is dangerous is because there are a ton of shulkers in here surrounding every side, and not getting hit is pretty much impossible. All you can do is control the number of times you get hit. But if you carefully utilize the levitation from the shulker's bullets, strategically letting yourself get hit, you can actually climb up this thing without needing to use a bunch of blocks. And once you hit the very top, you can wall yourself off to regenerate and then shoot at all the shulkers below with a bow to get rid of them. If there's any shulkers in this top room, you want to make sure they're eliminated as well. Once you kill all the shulkers that are bothering you, in this top room above the tower, you will usually find a couple of chests. Again, the end city loot is incredibly OP, but does contain a lot of armor and weapons that can clog up your inventory really quickly, so of course you can use a shulker box to help with that. And the reason getting up here is super useful is if you just get up to the roof and on top of this room, you now have access to all these different bridges leading to different parts of the end city that you didn't have before, and you can just ender pearl to all of them, exploring some of the different side rooms. Some rooms will have nothing, but some rooms will have extra loot. Of course, there will still be shulkers, and it's a bit more dangerous on the bridge, especially because you're higher up, so if you ever feel like you're about to take a big fall, just eat some chorus fruit and you'll be teleported back to a safe location. If you don't want to be teleported all the way down, you can also use these ledges poking out from each end city room. Just go under those, and that will stop you from levitating into the stratosphere. Honestly though, just kill as many of these shulkers as you can, allows you to explore the end city safely, and the shulker shells are just way too useful. And if your end city does have a ship, like we talked about earlier, one of these bridges will be pointing towards the ship. You can see that bridge has a ring at the end, so if you want to get to the end ship, that's the bridge you want to head to. So make your way over there however you can. Once you're on this bridge, first of all, make sure there are no shulkers that are going to annoy you while you're trying to make yourself over to the ship, because we are going to need to build a bridge. I would not recommend trying to ender pearl from all the way here, since it's extremely risky, very high chance you fall. So we're just going to build a bridge over there. As you can see, there's a shulker actually on the side of the ship. He's always spawns there, so I would recommend shooting that guy before you get too close to the ship. That way you don't get jump scared by him. If there are any other shulkers you see on the ship's exterior, make sure to dispose of them as well. You don't want to be levitating at all when you're this high. Once you bridge and get yourself on top of the ship, there are 2 things you can do. One, if you travel to the very front of the ship, you can actually find the Ender Dragon's head hanging off. This is purely a trophy item, however it is super rare, so just get it, why not? Be careful about it falling though. You want to place some blocks below it before you end up mining it. And after the dragon head, there's also the option to enter the ship's interior. And here, the first thing you'll see is a brewing stand with some healing potions, and if you go deeper inside, you will find a room lined with obsidian, with 1 shulker, 2 chests, and an item frame with the elytra. Kill the shulker, of course, you can loot the 2 chests, and you can also remove the elytra from the frame to use it for yourself. If you guys did enjoy this video, then please consider dropping a like and a sub, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.